Hey, let me ask you something. Did you watch that emotional video of Donovan Esuaku's journey to the NFL? If you haven't yet, do yourself a favor and check it out, because that clip tells you everything you need to know about the kind of player the Cowboys just drafted. This wasn't some hype reel full of flashy edits. It was raw, real. You could feel every bit of the grind that got him here. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't even the loudest. But you know what he was? Present every game, every snap, every rep. He showed up and he let his work do the talking. That's the kind of mentality that wins in the NFL. No shortcuts, no excuses. Just effort, consistency, and heart. He built himself from the ground up, brick by brick. And in a world where five-star recruits get all the attention, guys like Donovan Esuaku earn everything the hard way. Now I want to know how you felt watching that clip. Was it the line where he said he was never the strongest or the fastest, but kept showing up? Or maybe when he thanked his family, his coaches, and his community, saying, "This moment isn't just mine, it's ours"? Let me know in the comments. What part of his story hit home for you the most? Personally, I love players who don't need the spotlight. They just go out there and take care of business. That's what this kid is all about. And trust me, that's the kind of energy this Cowboys defense has been missing. If you're already feeling like this pick could be something special, hit that like button. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We talk Cowboys football all year long, straight up from fan to fan. All right, now let's dig into what makes Donovan Esuaku not just a great story, but possibly the most skilled pass rusher in this entire draft. All right, so let's move past the emotion for a second and look at the facts. Because when you talk about Donovan Esuaku, you're not just talking about heart. You're talking about production. And I mean real, measurable, game-changing production. Let's go back to his 2022 season at Boston College. The man was a force. We're talking 8.5 sacks, 14.5 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. That wasn't a breakout. It was a takeover. He lined up on the edge and just wrecked game plans. Offensive tackles couldn't handle his quickness off the snap, and quarterbacks learned real fast to keep their heads on a swivel. But what impressed me even more, he didn't disappear in 2023. Even with offenses keying in on him, double teams, chips, all that, he still made an impact. He forced 2 more fumbles and stayed active in the backfield. That tells you he's not a one-year wonder. He adjusts, he battles, he produces. And here's something that might surprise you. He had a pass rush win rate of nearly 17% in his best season. That's not just solid, that's elite territory for a college edge rusher. It shows he knows how to win in multiple ways: speed, leverage, timing, hand usage. This guy isn't just running around blocks, he's setting them up and breaking them down. Let me ask you this. How often do you see a pass rusher who's this polished coming out of college, but still flies under the radar? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm curious who comes to mind, because I honestly think the Cowboys might have stolen one here. And don't forget, production like this doesn't happen by accident. It takes preparation, film study, and a non-stop motor. Esuaku brings all of that. So if you're thinking this pick was more than just a depth move, I'm with you. This guy has starting upside. But what exactly makes his pass rushing skill set stand out? We're talking footwork, hands, burst, it's all there. Let's break it down in the next chapter. Now let's really get into what makes Donovan Esuaku such a problem for offensive lines. Because when you turn on the tape, it's not just raw athleticism, it's technique, it's precision, it's that edge, rusher toolbox. And this kid's already stocked up. First, let's talk about his get-off. That first step is explosive. You can see tackles panic right away because he gets into their space before they even finish their kick slide. And once he has that leverage, it's game on. He can dip and rip around the edge or use a power move to go straight through them. But what I really love? His hands. They're fast, violent, and calculated. Whether it's a swim move, a swipe, or a two-hand chop, he's always working to keep blockers off balance. That tells you he's not just reacting, He's planning his rush before the ball's even snapped. And he's not just a one-trick pony. This guy can bend around the arc, flatten to the quarterback, and finish. That flexibility is rare. You've got to be part gymnast to pull off some of the angles he takes. Here's a fun one for the comments. Which current NFL edge rusher does Esuaku's style remind you of? Doesn't have to be a superstar, just someone who wins with technique and effort more than freakish size. Speaking of effort, the motor on this kid never stops. Even when he doesn't win right away, he's chasing, spinning, countering. He plays like he's trying to earn a roster spot every single down. And that's exactly what Mike Zimmer now, is going to love about him. Oh, and let's not forget his football IQ. He reads the play, doesn't overcommit, stays disciplined against the run. That's a big deal for a young pass rusher trying to earn, trust on early downs. So when you stack it all up, burst, hands, bend, effort, you're looking at a guy who's already refined and still has room to grow. But here's the big question. How does he fit into this Dallas Cowboys defense right now? Stick with me, because we're diving into that next. So now that we've broken down what Donovan Esuaku brings to the table, the next big question is, how exactly does he fit into this Cowboys defense? Let's start with the obvious. Micah Parsons is still the alpha of this pass rush. And with DeMarcus Lawrence still anchoring the edge on early downs, the Cowboys didn't need a day 2 pick to come in and be a starter right away. What they needed was juice off the bench, a rotational weapon who can come in, create havoc, and keep the pressure relentless, and Esuaku fits that role perfectly. Think about the NASCAR packages Dan Quinn used to run, where multiple edge rushers would line up inside and outside to overload protections. Even though Quinn is gone, don't expect that philosophy to disappear. Mike Zimmer isn't flashy, but he knows how to create mismatches. And Esuaku's versatility, lining up wide, in tight, even on stunts, makes him a perfect chess piece. Another big factor? Run defense. This is where Esuaku separates himself from a lot of college edge guys. He sets a solid edge. He doesn't just fly upfield and lose contain. That's huge, especially in the NFC East, where you've got to deal with mobile quarterbacks and strong running games. Now, he's not going to replace DeMarcus Lawrence anytime soon, but he doesn't have to. What the Cowboys have now is a young, hungry, rotational pass rusher who can play meaningful snaps as a rookie, especially on third downs. And with Dorrance Armstrong gone, there's a real path to 20-25 snaps per game right out of the gate. Let me throw this out there for you. Do you think Esuaku will finish his rookie year with more than 4 sacks? Vote right now, over or under. Bottom line, he fits the Dallas mold. High character, high motor, and he's got the kind of upside that could make him a starter in year 2 or 3 if he develops like the Cowboys hope he will. But how did we even land him in the 4th round? That's where things get really interesting, because some scouts had a 2nd round grade on him. Let's dig into that draft day slide in the final chapter. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. How did a guy like Donovan Esuaku, who was projected by some analysts as a 2nd round talent, fall all the way to pick 174? From what I've gathered, it comes down to a mix of size concerns and questions about his ceiling. At just under 6'2" and 250 pounds, he doesn't check the prototype box for NFL edge rushers. And in a draft loaded with freak athletes at the position, some teams just prioritized length and raw tools over polish. But here's where the Cowboys may have played it smart. Instead of chasing upside for the sake of upside, they grabbed a guy who's already technically refined, productive, and has a relentless motor. And that's something Will McClay and this front office have done well over the years, finding guys who can contribute right away, even if they're not perfect on paper. Let's not forget, Esuaku was first-team All-ACC. He posted back-to-back years of high production, and he did it without elite talent around him. Imagine what he could do lining up next to Micah Parsons, Osa Odigizua, or Sam Williams. The dude won't be double-teamed. In Dallas, like he was at Boston College. And if you still think it's a reach or a gamble, go check what scouts from The Athletic and Bleacher Report said. Some gave him a higher grade than a few of the edge guys taken in round 3. Could this be a steal of the draft kind of situation? Absolutely. But I want to hear what you think. Drop a comment. Was Donovan Esuaku a steal, a solid pick, or a reach? One thing's for sure, this wasn't just a throwaway pick. The Cowboys saw something real in this kid. And if he proves them right, this could go down as one of the most underrated moves of the entire 2025 draft. Let's keep an eye on this one, Cowboys Nation. He might just surprise a whole lot of people.